Hi, this is Laura Ellison-Hutchinson from True North Therapy in Denver, Colorado. I work primarily with teens and young adults who have experienced trauma, and today I would like to talk a little bit more about depression. Let's say you have been feeling down in the dumps for quite a while now. What are some common things you may have already tried to do to fight depression? One would be maybe distraction, TV, video games, social media, and doom scrolling, right? Anything to kind of distract yourself from the thoughts and feelings that you've been having. Another possibility is that you've tried to talk to someone. Although, in my experience, it seems like most teens don't want to feel like a burden and share their problems with somebody else. They want them to come to them for help, but they really don't want to seek out help from friends and family just because they don't want anybody to worry about them. Maybe you've tried to fix depression on your own. Maybe you have just decided, I'm not going to feel this. I'm going to stuff this away. I'm going to pretend like I don't feel this. And maybe those feelings have just come up at different times. Or maybe the flip side of it. Maybe you've gone numb and said, those are too intense and I'm not going to feel them, so I'm not going to feel anything at all. And sometimes that works a little bit better for a little while until it doesn't, until it becomes all that you can feel, which is nothing. And even that can be super, super scary. Another thing that teens often try and do is their own research, right? TikTok, Instagram, Google, trying to figure out, hey, is this something that somebody else is feeling? And what did they do about it? And so often that can be a first step before actually seeking some kind of more formal help. Another common response would be to sleep. It becomes too much and you just kind of like pull the covers over your head and say, I'm done with it today. And then that becomes the next day and the next day. And that may lead to the last potential option, which is just total withdrawal. Withdrawing from your friends, from your family, from yourself. And so when you get to that point, what can you do? So those might have been a little bit helpful when you first started feeling this way, but they don't really get to the root of the problem. They don't really get to the, hey, this is what's really going on with me. Depression can feel like a weighted blanket. It can feel like it's just like pressing down on you. You put it on top of your head and you just sink and sink and sink. That's so hard to continuously push through and try and feel better. And sometimes you'll have days that feel really good. And other times you'll have days where you're like, wait a minute, I thought I was going like this. I'm getting out of my hole. And you're just dipping down. So here are a few suggestions to kind of help keep you moving forward with your fight against depression. Journaling, I know, is something everybody recommends, and for some people it works really well. For me, I wasn't a big journaler, but I recommend you try it. I tried it. Journal what is going on. Journal what is happening in your day, your successes. And speaking of successes, take small steps. Try and notice when your energy is up. And maybe it wasn't that way yesterday or the day before. Or maybe try and do something that you used to love to do and now it just seems like such a chore. Like, I don't want to practice my guitar. I don't care if it used to make me happy. It just seems too hard. Like, really, our motivation just really slumps when we're feeling depressed. Another thing you can try to do is to recognize all the improvements that you have done. And again, journaling would be helpful with that, right? You could go back to when you first started keeping the journal and see in black and white that you didn't think you were going to even get through the day that day, and you made it the next day and the next day and the next day. And so that gives you something really concrete to look at and say, oh yeah, I was really struggling then, and today's a bad day, but I haven't had one of these in a long time. And then you could also use your support system. Hey, I really feel like I'm stuck. Can you tell me the steps you've seen me take? Ask your family, they'll definitely notice. So like I said, we all have those days, right? We're not going up, 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 up with depression. There's some dips and some peaks and some valleys. So on the days when you've identified, hey, I am not in a good place, and maybe you don't even know why you're not in a good place. Maybe it wasn't because somebody got mad at you, or you felt left out, or you didn't do as well on a test as that you wanted to do. Maybe you just don't know, but you know you are not in a good spot. Here's some things to try. First of all, check in with your body. I've said it in all my videos. Our body knows what we are going through and has so much information to share with us. We just need to learn to listen to it. So check in with your body, see how it's feeling. Do you need to release all the tension? Do you need to move? Do you need to shake? Whatever it is, check in. Develop a really good relationship with your body. Another thing you could do is called orienting to the environment. This is a somatic experiencing exercise that I encourage all of my clients to do, and they do when they come in to session. What that entails is kind of getting out of your inner experience and going into your environment. So looking around the room, looking around the outside, find something that you want to rest your eyes on because it makes you smile inside or it makes you smile on the outside. Just spend some time with that image or that noise or that sensation, like one of these, and see what happens in your body. Again, it gets you out of your internal experience and gets you out into the world and connecting to the things around you. Another thing that I often recommend is getting outside, putting your feet on the grass, touching a tree. There is scientific evidence over and over again that says being in nature releases all the stuff inside and allows you to feel less anxious and feel more connected to something bigger than yourself. Connecting again, all humans are meant to connect. So checking in with your community. So remember I was mentioning those negative thoughts a couple seconds ago? Let's talk a little bit about those. You know, I'll never amount to anything. I'm never gonna pass this test. I am such a bad person. Those things are not helpful, as we all know. But one of the ways we can help ourselves get out of that terrible spiral down is to maybe question them. Say, okay, is that really 100% true? Is that 100% true? More often than not, it's not going to be 100% true. And if you're saying things like, I'm worthless or I'm never going to succeed, try and find the flip side of that. Try and really be curious about your day and look at what happened during the day. And instead of I'm worthless, like, oh, you know what? I was really helpful to her, or I was able to go ahead and take the dog out for my brother, even though it wasn't my job. Like, if you're going to be that critical on yourself, be that critical about your day and look at all the small things that you have done to help yourself. Another way to stop those thoughts is to interrupt them, right? So stop doing what you're doing or do something different than what you're doing. Get up, move your body. You know I'm always going to tell you to move your body, even in small ways. But do something that interrupts that constant beating up of yourself. Again, you could orient to the environment. You can go outside. You can go have a conversation. It doesn't have to be very long, but get you out of that rut where you kept thinking over and over how much you're struggling and being unkind to yourself. You could try writing it down. Write down the things. It's funny that when we write things down and we see it in black and white, it kind of puts it more into perspective. And then write the reverse. Again, everything I keep saying to you, if you have this, then do the reverse of that. So if you write it down and you see it, then write down something that you would want to believe and that you might actually have already accomplished. Then rip up the stuff that was nasty and unkind to yourself. And then maybe externalize depression. I say this a lot for anxiety as well, is create this monster picture, whatever you want, that kind of sits out here, and you can actually talk to it and be like, That's not right. That's just you talking to me, and that is not my reality. It may seem silly. I often have clients draw their picture of depression because it helps concretize it and takes it out of being this thing that feels nebulous and makes it something that you can personally be like, don't mess with me. The key is that you don't have to be positive all the time, but when you're looking for opportunities to try and shift things or challenge things, you're going to have a lot more luck at trying to get out of that rut of depression. And so lastly, healing. How can we create a full life that embraces where we've been and where we want to go? Again, I'm going to bring up connection. Human beings need connection. Find your community, find your people, find those people that realize how special and wonderful you are. And then try and find that joy and that curiosity. What are the things that excite you? What are the things you can't stand? You know how to avoid those, right? Be curious and build the things into your life that make you happy and fulfilled. Move your body, take care of your body, take showers, take your medicine if you have it, rest, eat, drink, take care of this. It will do wonders for you. Another thing is to take small goals, make them. What can I do today? So that you see that progress. Set out an intention in the morning and be like, okay, today I am going to take a shower because I haven't done it in 3 days. At the end of the day, you can be like, oh yeah, check, I did that. I did something for myself. One last thing about those negative thoughts. When we continue to say them, we strengthen them and we strengthen those neural pathways. When we do the opposite, those negative thoughts and those negative neural pathways shrink because what we're doing is giving our attention and our focus into, I can do it. I am a good friend. I'm gonna pass this test. Science backs this up, that we can strengthen by focusing on those things, strengthen those new neural pathways, and slowly, what we call is, they're called pruning the old pathways that were negative and not doing good things for you. So hopefully this was helpful. Find people that will show up for you and be there for you. And if you don't have that right now and you need somebody else to listen to, find a good therapist. There are a lot of directories out there that you can search and find that person that you really feel connected to.